All right, happy Saturday night, everybody. Saturday evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Thacker Jewelry, West Texas legends, their own selves. Right here from the Arctic Air Studios, following a Texas Tech 30-20 victory over Arizona State to start Big 12 play. The Red Raiders now 1-0 in the league, and Arizona State 0-1, their first loss of the year, and Tech going to 3-1. So a lot of things to look at in the game. We're glad you're with us tonight. Because we always love hearing what you have to say. And that's really what this show is about. So get your comments in, your questions, what you liked about the game, what you loved about it, didn't like, want to see more of, things that impressed you, all of that stuff as we go through tonight. Brought to you, of course, by all of the communications on our shows here in Raiderland, United Supermarkets and Market Street. You might even stop by on the way home, refuel, get ready for NFL Sunday coming up tomorrow. And also, thanks to all the meteorologists out there, the weathermen, you kept the weather away today, at least during the game. Now it can rain all night long if it wants to. If it wants to rain, go ahead and rain. I really thought we were going to catch some rain during the second half today. It was really setting up that way early on, and it just initiated a little farther to the north and northwest, and now it looks like it's kind of coming up Brownfield Highway right now, getting ready to rain. If you're going out to the South Plains Fair tonight, keep that in mind. And all the Western wear we wear, including this Ariat shirt, red, because you're married. You had to wear red on one side of the stadium, and on the other side, you gotta know what to wear when you go to a Tech game these days. Brought to you by Boot City One Money Saving Mile outside the West Loop on 19th Street. So let's get them coming in. Let's get to questions. I'll roll through my top 5 thoughts, and then we'll get yours. Whether you're on Twitter, whether you are on Twitter X, or whether you're on YouTube, our YouTube channel continues to grow. If you hadn't subscribed, please do so. You'll never miss a thing. And our Facebook Live group is always great. Lynn gets us going. 600 wins right on Wreckham early on YouTube. Well done, Red Raiders. Well done. Jeff jumping in. Any Big 12 win is a good win. Absolutely. Big 12 wins are like children. They're all special, and you love them all for your own reasons. James is all thumbs up on Facebook tonight. It rained from Amarillo to Tulia. My son was making the drive down today from WT. He said it was raining pretty good leaving town, and then kind of got out of it as it was making his way down here to the Hubaplex. So, all right, so where do we start? 30-22. This was a game where Texas Tech, all they needed to do were the things that they needed to do to win the game. At the risk of sounding like Kamala Harris, allow me to explain. You didn't have to be incredible today. You didn't have to throw for 300 yards. You didn't have to run for 250 yards. You didn't have to score 40 points or 50 points. You just had to make some football plays when you needed to make them, offensively, defensively, and otherwise. And that's exactly what Texas Tech did. For the first Big 12 game for Arizona State, it was a throwback game to the mid-90s in the early era of the Big 12, where nobody was scoring 40 or 50 points unless, Nebraska was going off on somebody or something at the time. I reckon my 37-24 a little off, but it was close. Solid win, says Trace. I'll take them all day long. Christian, disappointed in the offense. Disappointed in the offense. Interesting. We'll get to that, and we'll get your thoughts on that. You can tell us why you were disappointed in the offense, because the offense did exactly what the offense had to do today. James, fourth quarter clock management, Tech, excellent. The bleed clock drive where they get it with 12:39 to play after you, get the incompletion and the punt, you get it on your 35. I thought that was the drive of the game, and it results in a field goal. Yeah, field goals are fine. Take points. Points are hard to get. Points are hard to get in college football, even though every rule is designed to help the offense. Good Lord, some of the holding calls, some of the PIs, DPIs, everything else. But yeah, that drive, which included a Cameron Dickey spin move that EA Sports will be lucky to duplicate in the game, I thought was big. Michael got the win, enjoy it for a few hours, start working for the next one. I don't have to do anything, Michael. I can enjoy the win today, tomorrow. I don't have to start working to do anything. Lack of discipline in the first half, unacceptable. Yeah, there was some low IQ penalties. We'll get to that. All right, so number one, Texas Tech did what it took to win. They got stops when they needed to get stops. They got off the field. Run game defense is infinitely better now than it was at the beginning of the season. They handled, other than one long run, they really handled Scatabo, really handled that pretty well. Condensed it, and we saw obviously with Levitt, that was not a Mateer-like quarterback. We told you this week, Levitt can run, but he doesn't run out of design runs. He runs when the play breaks down. Mateer there at Washington State, they run him. So I thought Texas Tech handled that fairly well for the most part, all things considered. The defense, as we mentioned, a bend but don't break philosophy. No, you don't want to bend, but they certainly didn't break. And they got some stops when they needed it. They got a 3 and out when they needed it. I thought the defense played pretty darn good. In college football, if you hold somebody to 22 points these days, you're playing good defense. If you're playing a legitimate college team to 22 points, you have played good defense, in my opinion. Christian, I'm tired of us not ending games. One possession wins will get us nowhere or no recognition. All right. Okay, if that's what you think. Wins get you recognition. Reckon a little too flashy on the Hudson play. His play will come in due time. Yeah, so Micah Hudson got his moment in the sun down there in the red zone. And, yeah, I thought there was a little bit much going on. We'll get to red zone here in a minute for both teams. Michael not happy with the secondary. It looked like Tech left some ASU players open. Lucky for some missed throws, but glad they won. The secondary was playing what the secondary needed to play for the most part. And you can sit there and say they're late in the fourth quarter, you were giving up chunk yards. Yeah, but that was by design because you had a two-score lead. You had clock on your side. You played it all right. You didn't gamble. You didn't do anything crazy. I'll accept that. I will take 30 to 22 every game, people. Okay? I thought the secondary played pretty good when it mattered. And they did what they had to do and kept everything underneath and made them chew up clock and made them take time to get that last score, to get that next to last score. And then you do exactly what you need to do on the next possession. And you run clock, you run 2-run plays, you make them take the timeouts. There were 2 things you couldn't do in that situation after that possession, and Texas Tech didn't do either one of them. They didn't throw an incomplete pass. Well, the first thing you can't do is turn it over. You cannot turn the ball over. Second thing, don't stop the clock. Make them use your timeouts. Well executed, well done. Larry, solid win, especially without key defensive players. Yeah, you're still back up on the defensive side. Barron definitely got cracked in the head. Do you really believe Haitians are eating cats? Quit bringing up politics, dude. I think a lot of people are eating cats and dogs and all sorts of animals all over the world. Richie, if you can't handle it, move on. You can unfollow me on Twitter, on social media. Here's the deal. I can walk, I can talk, I can chew gum. I can follow sports, I can be involved in politics, and I can have my views and you can have your views. And if you don't like them, you are free to move on. Do you eat cats, Richie? A deep dive in Raiderland this weekend. Does Richie P eat cats? Defense, improved run game for sure. Number 3, play action passing is the key to this offense going forward. Say it with me. Make play action passing sexy again, and they were doing it there in the early drives. And I don't know, again, how much is scripted and how much is scripted and then off script given down distance situation and what you're seeing defensively, what Barron can check into or otherwise. Either way, you were seeing the plays to Douglas early on. You were seeing the play action. You were seeing that free safeties. And give me more of the play action passing game because you have every element and every offensive weapon that can drive play action passing. Between Kelly, between Conyers, between your tight ends, the ability to get Aiken downfield. And I know I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, okay, but they have to respect Aiken, certainly in one-on-one situations, that he can get upfield seam or otherwise down the sideline. We've seen it before. Everything about what Taj Brooks makes this team so good because of the other things teams have to account for right now. I can't remember the number now. 8-2, I think, when he rushes for 100 yards in his career at Texas Tech. That number sounds low. It seems like it should be more. I don't know. Play action, more of it. Keep doing it. Commit to it. Everything can flow off that. Everything can flow off that. And if they want to have two safeties in the game and they want to play with run eyes, please do that. That's one less linebacker. Like I said, I thought the play calling on the drive where you need to kill time was good. Depending on which, I had no problem with the play calling. I even liked it in the fourth quarter. Jeff, if we script at the beginning, we don't seem to learn much from what works. No, because you're implying right there, Jeff, that the other team doesn't make adjustments. Football is totally about adjustments. In the NFL, every game is won in the fourth quarter because of adjustments. In college football, I would say the adjustments occur more earlier in the game sometimes. And when I say games are won in the fourth quarter in the NFL, that's just how good the teams are. The separation that much. Bigger separation in college, bigger swings on adjustment. So 100%, absolutely. They adjust. They do try to take away things. And then you have to adjust, and you have to do plan B, plan C. It's not really plan B or plan C. It's just an extension of what you do. So the extension of what you do, if they want to take this away, fine. If they want to take Brooks away, fine. We'll go hit some tight ends. We'll go outside. We'll do some different things. So that gets us, and Jeff does a good job getting us to point number 4. Keep firing your questions. Glad you're with us tonight. Raiderland Rewind, brought to you by Thacker Jewelry, West Texas Legends, creating legendary West Texas original jewelry for you and your family and your loved ones. And you need to go see them and tell them thanks for being a part of Raiderland. Better team won today. Absolutely. Yeah. Tillman not hanging around with Tim Brando. Yeah. A total good game, offense, defense. Dickey looks like Brooks when he gets the ball the way he runs. He runs hard. All right, so let's go back up there. If we script the beginning, you don't learn much from the script. All right. One of the things that you tried to do, because they were trying to take away Brooks, they were trying to get in there and limit your play action short. So they go, all right, you want to do that? This is how we're going to counter. So then that's where you get a chance to take some deep shots. Well, you can't take deep shots if you can't pass protect. And this offensive line right now cannot pass protect. They are substandard Big 12. They're not good. There's no two ways about it. They're just not good in pass protection. Arizona State didn't do anything special. But if you want to go downfield effectively, you got to give the quarterback a chance. And I'm going to totally bail out Morton today, going 24-44, 201, 2 touchdowns, 55 completion percent. You know what he didn't do? He didn't throw an interception. You know what Levitt did? He threw an interception. His team lost. He didn't throw an interception. He didn't force anything. Talking about Barron, Morton. He played an intelligent game at quarterback today. So let's go and look deeper into the numbers, shall we? And let's go to some advanced stats on what Texas Tech did on the field passing, progression by yards. Short passing today, Texas Tech was 12 of 17. You get the ball out quick. You take advantage of that. Those are some of your wide receiver screens, your throws to Kelly, your dump offs, your quick passes, effective. And that's why Zach Kitley likes running it, because he goes and he looks at that and he says 12 of 17, knocked me out. Now let's go medium passes. That's 5 yards to 14 yards on depth, targeted throw. 10 of 18. We begin to see the regression right there. That's because of protection. Then we go deep passing. That's 15 yards or more on the target. And Texas Tech, again, much like what we saw at Washington State, 2 of 9. Luckily, they were only 3 of 12. 2 of 9 ain't going to cut it. And 2 of 9 is because your pass protection was bad. Your offensive line had a bad game. I don't know what Brooks' yardage after contact was today. I don't think no, I don't have that stat that I can get to right now. I don't know what it was. What was his long? He had that 25-yarder. Yeah, I forget that. I think the other one was like 15 or something. 4.3 yards a carry. That's like an Earl Campbell type day back in the NFL for the Oilers in the late 70s when Bum Phillips was just feeding it to him, and he's averaging about 4.5 yards in the NFL, which is hard to get. That's 4.3 for 117. This offensive line's not good. Merriman made some big mistakes in the first half, and I said it was low IQ football. You can't get personal foul penalties like that no matter how mad you are, no matter how mad you are that they're laying on Taj Brooks. You can't do stupid stuff like that. Can't wander down. He had a – anybody remember Phil Pozderac for the Dallas Cowboys? Tackle for the Dallas Cowboys in the 19. Anybody remember Phil Pozderac? Tech kickers are often awesome. Jeff Seal won the turnover game. Yes, you did. It's amazing what happens when you win the turnover game. James only got to see the second half. D-line did its job with pressure. Yeah, and they were just base. I mean, they were disrupting. They were physically better, I thought, than Arizona State today. Trace, love the uniforms again, especially against a team wearing pajamas. I can't do solid on solid, okay? You guys keep firing the questions, comments, thoughts, everything else. I love it. I can't do solid on solid. Red over white, yeah. But the red on red, you look like human blood clots kind of running around out there. I don't like it. It's like a bad NFL color rush deal. In Arizona State, come on, man. You could be wearing those, Sun Devil red or maroon or whatever it is, pants with the white, and go, give me a little more. Come on. We do better. And I want Sparky on the helmet. 600th program victory, which if you look over the history of Texas Tech and how many years Texas Tech has been playing football and the allegations that Texas Tech has been historically a 6-win program, can't escape the math sometimes. So what do we do about the offensive line in order to get better? Get healthier. Hopefully repetition will make them better. But right now, 25% into the season, the biggest Achilles heel to the offense has been the offensive line. There's no way around it. Penalties suck. And you had a lot of them, particularly in the first half. Good news, you only had one pre-snap penalty. I think there was only one false start. You had some gains obviously wiped out by it. You had drive extending penalties on defense. I want to go back and look at some of the holding downfield. This crew was in love with throwing flags on defenders. Both Tech and I think Arizona State got hit with a couple of that I thought were incredibly questionable. And I'm like, let them play football. But at a certain point, when you're a defensive back, it's no different than being a pitcher or a hitter or a basketball player that you have to adjust to how the officials are officiating. If he's called the outside strike, a ball and a half outside the plate for the first 3 innings, and you get called out on it in the 4th inning, that's on you. If they have called ticky-tack touch fouls out on the perimeter for the first half of the game and you get one to get your 3rd foul a minute into the second half, that's on you. So you got to live with it. You have to adjust. But I feel for the defenders a lot, particularly the secondary players, that I don't know how you play defense these days. You can't body up. Just because I've got an arm bar on you, I'm touching you, we're going downfield. That ain't holding. That ain't holding. Don't give me that. If I tackle a guy on a stop route, that's a hold. But as bad as the penalties were, and they're going to look horrible to the people that are just going to look at the box score and look at it that way, it wasn't as bad as it kind of looked. There were stupid ones, low IQ football ones, yes. You can't go pushing a guy after the play is over. The ref's standing right there. What do you think's going to happen? And again, you already know that these refs Or in the words of which NFL coach was it who said in this in the 70s, "You over officious jerk"? Who was that? A great NFL Films moment. Oh well. So the penalties suck. They could have been worse. Somebody mentioned the kickers. Yeah, I don't understand how you can use two kickers and it works so well. I've never seen it in my life. I have never seen a team alternate kickers. And I mean, what's the? Is it gonna? Are we waiting for like one of them to miss and then that guy's screwed? What kind of pressure are you putting on him? Come on, Joey. Come on, Kenny Perry. I have never seen this in my life, and I can't believe it's working. And you know what? Here's to you, Tack. It's working. I have never seen it. Triple C, Civilian Conservation. What was that? Civilian Conservation something? CCC program in the Depression. Centennial Champion has been running much better than the past few seasons. Last week did not look good. This week looked a little bit more in control, and the Masked Rider certainly looked a little more confident and a little more seated. We'll take the run. James, the commentator, how common was he? Mentioned the questionable calls as well. Good. I'm glad they did. Second half penalties better. Yeah, you cleaned it up. Again, I think, like I'm talking about, you adjust. You have to go, okay, fine, okay, we can't do that. So again, if you talk about maybe the secondary or whatever coverage and giving up some yards in the second half, okay, because we found out in the first half, if you touch somebody, it's a penalty. Will we get a sack this season? No. Next season is the sack year. This team don't blitz. All right, Tim, love you. And he's got to be frustrated because they almost get the pressure on interception in the first quarter was coming off not a blitz but a stunt that I believe Don Williams referenced in real time on Twitter. Hey, I wrote about this. They spent a lot of time this summer working on stunts, different packages up front, which I'm all for that. Just don't blitz. Concept games, stunts, everything else, do that. But obviously, just can't get home for whatever reason. Just can't get there. Don't know why, but you can't. So do the stunts, particularly if you are looking at a non-heavy rush situation where you think you're going to stunt yourself out of a run. And that's where you can get hurt that way. But again, if you stunt, you still got the backers. So I've got gap control. I've got gap integrity. So we talk about a stunt, and I know you guys know this because you're incredibly smart, but there might be somebody going, okay, what's a stunt? All right, so I got 3 down linemen. I got an odd stack front. So maybe I take my zero, my nose tackle, or my tackle here, and I'm going to take my inside guy and loop him out. I'm going to come back in that way. I'm trying to move an offensive line. I'm trying to create a little bit of hole. So I do that. I try to find an angle, and maybe I even take my other end over here and I crash in here. So now I've got 2 backers. I've still got to have gap integrity. So a middle backer, he's got to step up and he's got a gap control. Then I've got backside, B gap, C gap control with this linebacker. They've got to hold that just in case we got an ace back, we got a single back, we got a single back there that he could still give the ball to. I like that. You brought pressure last week off the edge and didn't get home, and guy broke a tackling, ran 70 yards for a touchdown. So give me more of the stunts. I like that. I think these linebackers are good enough to clean things up if you do stunt yourself into trouble where it's not going to go for 70 yards. It might go for 7. And we'll keep them home in the middle. So, I've still got the same number of gaps to account for. I've still got A, B, C, D outside, whatever. So I got 3 guys that I can count for it up front. I got another 3 guys there. I got 6 guys. I got gaps. I got gap integrity. Don't blitz. Thanks for coming into my TED Talk about defensive gap control. See, I'm an old gap control junkie from the 70s and 80s where that was the big deal. Nothing changes in football. Now, it wasn't Glanville. Talking about the coach who was talking about that. Nope, what did I hit there? Sometimes I go through scrolling on your comments, and I know you guys can't see all the comments and everything else. Internet. Cincy looked good today, but Houston was terrible. All right, so here you go. I got to hit this to do that. I don't want to hide that. What are we doing here? Good grief. All right. Here's all I wanted at the beginning of the season. Just find a way. And besides Wazoo, they're doing just that. There we go. There we go. Come back over here. Since he looked good today, Houston was terrible. Didn't see any tempo. The offense worked much better. They'll probably deny that there wasn't any tempo and everything, but there was tempo. What do you think of the freshman running back? Only got a couple of chances. I thought they gave him the ball in some pretty high leverage situations. If we were talking about, baseball and like a pitcher coming in with some guys on, I like that. I didn't have a problem with the calls. It was the no calls going the other way in the game. Okay. All right. So, hey, Cincy, we can talk about Big 12 and anything else as we go through tonight. You keep the comments coming. You share this with your friends. Invite them into a little Raiderland Rewind brought to you by Diamond Talk. We'll have a good time. Houston's bad. What we saw today with Cincinnati was really kind of who Houston has been. And have we kicked off yet in Norman, where Josh Heupel in Tennessee is about to absolutely do horrible things that should only be shown on TV after midnight, I think, to the Sooners? What we learned in that Houston-Oklahoma game is that Oklahoma's not good. That's what we learned there. Praying for TCU fans. Did my man Sonny Dykes, did he get ejected today? Obviously not paying attention to the iron skillet. SMU wins fairly convincingly. Friend of mine texted me, fellow Coronado Mustang, and it apparently, things are not good in Fort Worth. They came in, they remade the roster, talking about Sonny Dykes and TCU. They obviously go to the national title game. They set astronomical aspirations for the program. And the last 2 years obviously have not been very good for the Horned Frogs. And I hope he didn't get run today. I get it if he did. If he did, he's done something that his dad never did, which would be getting ejected from a college football game as a head coach. I don't think Spike ever got thrown out. But Jeff, ASU fans on Twitter were whining about the announcers and the refs being in the tank for Tech. Let's turn this into a new rivalry. I got nothing against Arizona State, but I do love that. I don't know about the announcers being in the tank for Tech, but I love it when fans think Texas Tech is getting calls, because no Tech fans ever think Tech is getting calls. So if opposing fans are saying the refs are in the tank for Tech, here's to it. Sign me up. Probably shouldn't have talked smack about being on the CW. 56-28 SMU, 3 minutes left in the third. Good Lord, I thought it was over. Can anyone confirm, did Sonny Dykes get ejected for the game? Kansas and West Virginia are not good. Kansas is fraudulent. We told you that. West Virginia is who they are, which is an average to slightly below average team. But Neil Brown stays alive, baby. He is the Bee Gees of college football coaches, that he has figured out the last 2 years how to stay alive, win exactly the right game at the right time. But we told you, I can't remember who I was on with, some radio show. Oh, it was my friends there in Oklahoma. And, Kansas fraudulent. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Kansas football fraudulent. They were fraudulent when they got out to the hot start. Don Williams was right to not rank them. They're fraudulent. On to Cincinnati. I'm not ready for Cincinnati yet. I'm enjoying this one. He was ejected. Good Lord. Hometown refs were at the six-man game in Roby last night. Really? Hey, just be glad we had refs. It's harder and harder at the high school level, particularly six-man and six-man, 2A, 1A, 2A, what we used to call six-man, all that stuff. Had some games where you had to delay it, just waiting on anybody to show up to ref. Who won down there in Roby, by the way? The Screaming Ropesville Eagles, undefeated on the year, 49-0 over the Olton Mustangs. The only two programs on the South Plains that can claim former all-district players in their history with the last name Hyatt. That's right. The first time they've ever matched up two teams that could claim the last name Hyatt, all-district players. Thank you very much. That had nothing to do with it myself. I'm trying to think, we're gonna look at the day Taj Brooks had and ignore it, and you shouldn't, because almost everything you accomplished offensively was because of Taj Brooks and Taj Brooks' presence. That whether he ran for 100 yards or 150 or 200, it doesn't matter. That you won this game because of Taj Brooks, the willingness early on to tell them, this is what we're going to do to you with Taj Brooks. What are you going to do about it? And then you go from there. I mean, Taj Brooks is sort of not exactly the Hyatt Bowl for sure, since it was 49-0, and no Hyatts were on the field in the game. The Washington Wazoo loss isn't looking as bad right now. They barely beat San Diego State, I believe, last night. So that didn't really steal me on that, Jeff. Ryan, Tech's remaining home games, all very winnable. Got to win at least 2 on the road to get to a champ game. Hey, let's hold up on that there car wash and talking about getting to a championship game. Like Mike and some others said, Cincinnati next. This team's still pretty, I'm going to use the term fragile from this standpoint. They don't have a lot of margin for error because the offensive line pass protection is so bad, because the defense is still fairly limited with injuries and other aspects to it. This is a team, they're a good team. They're not a great team. They're a good team right now. If they would like to become a great team, that's fine. That's up to them. But let's settle down just a little bit on some of that, because there's not a lot of margin for error. You saw that today. You saw a team get out into a 2-touchdown lead and do the right thing, in my opinion. Joey McGuire coached this up just right, handled it right. They knew how to do it. This is how you used to win football games. I know it's hard maybe for some of the younger set to realize this is how you used to win games, by a score and a field goal, by 8 points. That you scored 30 points in a game and you were like, golly, that was a great day. Holy cow. That that this is the margin you usually play with, particularly in a league where I think the margin of error is about this much for every team. Ain't nobody great in this league this year. Where are we? Do I have my scoreboard up? Sorry. Brooks is the offense because you saw how they aren't when he isn't in. Yeah, well, I will say this. They got away from committing to the run against Washington State, and I think if they'd committed to it with Dickey, it would have been different. That if they'd committed to it and said, we don't care whether he's out there or not, we're going to do this, I think it would have been different. Let's go to the scoreboard in the Big 12. And we look around the country, and obviously Iowa State taking care of Arkansas State. No letdown for Iowa State after the week off, after the win, 52-7. West Virginia, 32-28. Houston, Cincinnati, 34-zip. And then it is a final now. Utah and Oklahoma State, 22-19. No Cam Rising in that one. Wilson, the brother of Zach Wilson, getting the start for Utah in a dead under game and a 3-point win there. And then, as we said, we're in the third quarter with 51 seconds left. They're at Gerald J. Ford Stadium, not the president, 59-28. Holy cow. Baylor and Colorado. This one is, I don't know. I don't know about this one. This ugly game. And then Kansas State, BYU, 9:30 tonight. Anybody with me? BYU getting 7. Not only do I like that that number, if you get 7.5, you would buy that point. I think they're live dogs. I haven't seen anything from Kansas State that just tells me they're absolutely going to roll in there and win that game. At least not easily. I think if I could get BYU 7.5, I'd certainly look at that. Yeah, Big 12 after dark tonight. Baylor and that's okay. Where are you guys on this one? Everybody who's with us right now, glad you're with us on the show, whether you're on Twitter, on X, on YouTube, or on Facebook Live. And everybody needs to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you're not, liking our page on Facebook, go do that. Grow Raiderland, share it. Baylor or Colorado? Who do you root for in this one? I mean, it's kind of dirty on both sides of the deal, right? You don't feel right. You don't feel natural just sidling up to the Bears. But then you look over there, and Coach Prime has been so dang annoying, just dang annoying. I don't hate the guy, just annoying. Where do you go on that game? Baylor for the win, says CJ. Jeff is on YouTube. He's going Baylor. Can't root for Prime. Any day Baylor and Colorado loses, said James, is a good day. And the Triple C, I am enjoying watching UNT whoop Wyoming for what they did to us last year. Enjoy watching UNT win that. And Wyoming's way down, lost coach, all that stuff. But yeah, just that it helps make you look good a little bit. I got nothing against Wyoming. They didn't do anything wrong other than show up and play a football game that Texas Tech didn't show up and play in after the first quarter. Colorado and Baylor, both train wrecks waiting to happen. And what do? We love to watch train wrecks. We do that. All right, we'll go for a few more minutes. Your final comments, questions, thoughts. A very workmanlike, functional. This is how you win football games. This is what good football teams win games like Tech did today. And Texas Tech is a good football team. I didn't say great. I said they're a good football team. Good football teams win the way they won today, doing exactly whatever it takes to win that game on that day. Defense markedly improved from week 1 to today. That's a check. That's good. Taj Brooks is Taj Brooks. Zach Kelly, I think, is dialing up what I'm liking to see. You can't give me enough play action. Can't do that enough. Offensive line problematic, certainly when it comes to pass pro. We know that. And that may be, you may go as far as that offensive line can get better over the next 30% of the schedule. Over the next 4. Over the next 4, how much better can you get there? If you can't get much better there, you're not going to get a lot. If you can get better there, you do that. Saw James Madison thump North Carolina. Yes, they did. They're sort of the North Dakota State of that part of the world where you schedule them at your own peril. But my gosh, they scored like 70-something points. But not basketball. And they got paid $1,004,000 to do it. Yeah. Only thing I have against Wyoming is Liz Cheney. Yeah. Liz and Dick. What a pair. Does Fox pay Spencer Tillman by the word? No, they pay him by the simile and the metaphor. And I love Spencer Tillman. He used to come into town and do a lot of Tech games back in the 2000s, early 2000s. And he would come out and hang out with me and Don Williams if we were doing the show like on Friday afternoon somewhere, or even Thursday. He'd come in Thursday a lot. Him and Ron Thulin used to work together. Ron was great. He had a daughter going to Tech at the time. So, like, Spencer would come, like, find us, and all of a sudden there's Spencer Tillman hanging out while we're doing the Williams and Hyatt show somewhere. And he might only go on for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then he'd be like, I'm going to get a burger and hang out here. He sat there at the old 50th Street caboose one time with us. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to have a burger. That's Spencer Tillman. That's cool. Really good guy. Really good guy. I hope he did a good job on the game. I hope people were liking it. Apparently, if Arizona State people didn't like it, it was good. So do we know who we are yet? I know who I am. Do you know who you are? I think I know who Texas Tech is, much more so now than after the Washington State game. It's a matter of, can they embrace it? Will they commit to it? and not stray from it and go from there. If they do that, they can be a good team. Sounds like that it is 100%. I can concur that that game was done remotely. Sadly, I like Spencer, but he did make me laugh today when he called tortillas tacos. Oh, they were doing that, huh? The old tortilla taco thing. Yeah. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Don't get it. After all these years, even if you don't know the difference between a tortellini, a tortilla, or a taco. A taco. Tennessee just stopped on 3rd and goal. OU defense looking good. Well, they couldn't be looking too good if they got stopped at the 3. I'm just kidding right there. Heupel wants to win this game, not just win this game. He wants to hang a number. 2 tortillas short of a first down. Are they like laying on the field that way, or are we talking like vertical tortillas? There's a good name for a band. Mariachi Vertical Tortilla. If anybody's starting a mariachi band, Mariachi Vertical Tortilla. I give you that as our closing thoughts tonight. Mariachi Vertical Tortilla. Thank you. My work here is done. We enjoyed it. We're going to have this posted on the website, theraiderland.com, here in just a little bit. I want you guys, everybody with us tonight, share that, put it out there, and invite your friends in and all the cool stuff. Put it on Twitter, Facebook, and wherever it may be, even on your own webpage. Share that from theraiderland.com. 5 things we know on a Sunday column will be rolling out tomorrow. I want you to read that, share that, comment on it. We don't run a message board, but you guys are always free to comment on our daily stories and our posts and everything else at theraiderland.com. You're always free to comment. It's not a message board. That's good. That's what we're doing. But yeah, add your thoughts, add your comments. I can't thank you enough for being out there. I can't thank Thacker Jewelry enough here in Lubbock for being your presenting sponsor on Raiderland Rewind and, of course, on Diamond Talk during baseball season. United Supermarkets for handling the communications here in the Arctic Air studio. Can't beat that and everything else. So you guys are the best. Thank you, Jeff. Hey, man, Carter McKenzie getting in. Talking about good Coronado Mustangs. Real quick, couple of points. Tech 3-1. We'll find out Wazoo pretty damn good. I hope you're right. Tech is very mediocre. Good news. So is the whole Big 12. I would not say very mediocre. I think Tech is a good team, but I think pretty much everybody in the Big 12 for the most part is a good team. Not a great team. Not a bad team. Good team. All right, y'all are the best. We got to shut her down for tonight. Enjoyed the hell out of it. We'll see you tomorrow on the website. 5 things we know on a Sunday column. Check it out. theraiderland.com.